Welcome, Captains, back to another Esper W tips and tricks. Uh, this one seems to be a big one that people have a lot of question on. Reputations. Unfortunately, I do not have a captain who has not completed at least tier 5 on all reputations, so I can't go over too much on everything, but I will show what I can. I pulled up a captain that only has up to the tier 5. Don't have haven't even started on the tier 6 yet. But no one really specified what exactly they wanted to hear about it, but I will go ahead and give some brief explanations of everything. First of all, let's go with the new layout. This is the new layout since the Age of Discovery has dropped, so everything has changed. So I'm going to go over just how everything looks first, and then I'll go into the actual tiers and what you can get and what they mean. So let's start off with the UI, the way it's laid out. Once you hit level 50 on a captain, the tier system will open up to you. It is possible to get the marks needed for each one before then, thanks to the new mission. Man, I can't even do them right. STFs or STOs. Especially the man, I cannot think right now. Defensive Starbase 1. Mine went blank because this one is ran from level 10. So it is possible to get in on this one and start earning marks as early as level 10. So it's not too bad, but it allows you to start banking. I also utilize the summer event and winter events. There are 2 missions in each. One, the summer event is collecting the bird eggs, excuse me, and raising them to full birds will give you marks. And in the winter event, which is about to drop next week, or 2 weeks away, I can't remember which. Heck, let's look that up. Calendar. December. Oh, there we go. The 7th. Or excuse me, it starts the 6th. And those little snowflakes on these. So it actually starts on the 6th. Oh, excuse me, no, the 4th. Q's Winter Wonderland. December 4th to January 17th. So it starts in 8 days, so just over a week. I'm recording this on Saturday. But there is a daily, actually it's an hourly race that you can do against other people. Depending on what you place, you will earn little tags to raise an Eppo, which is a little bunny-like creature that from New Romulus. But they have them special winter ones. If you place first place in either of those races, you get usually 12 tags. Second place is 6 tags. Third place is 3 tags, and just completing the race will give you 2. It requires 6 tags per day to raise an Eppo for the winter event. For the summer event, it's just finding the eggs, and they're totally random while you do the Horga hunt. So placing high on the race can help you build up a lot of marks. If that fails, then you can run the race 3 times and it should give you enough, as long as you don't go off the track and get disqualified, which does happen. Then you can usually get it within 3 races, which, depending on how long it takes, it could take quite a while because of the rotation. And I know there's been a problem in the past where you couldn't run 2 races from the same character in the same go around. So usually there's 2 races per rotation, and for some reason it was that once you ran it, you couldn't run it again until like 1 or 2 hours later. So you just couldn't join the race is what it wound up being. Anyway, back to reputations. Once you get to level 50, the reputation system opens up. The event reputation will be open from start of character. This is the one where you can, from the store, this is where you claim your summer events, winter events, account reward claims, and weekend events, which is usually the Sompek. Notice I do not have winter on this character yet, so she will be running it brand new here. But once you do this once, you will unlock the store. And usually it's just claiming the mission from Q for the winter event, and the Ryson person who beamed down to Risa. It automatically will prompt for the mission. And it takes like one bauble from the winter and 1 favor from the summer to unlock the store, and once the store is unlocked, it's unlocked forever. And this is an easier way of getting to things. These are all the items that were available during the summer event. And the winter event will be the same. And it usually updates to the new year, so you don't always have to run back to the vendor. You can just open this up and claim it right there. The account rewards is usually the T6 or the ships from the individual events. Notice some of these I've either reclaimed. Actually, no, on this account I do not have these at all. So the white ones are ones from previous events. I will never be able to get those again because they're most of these are actually all of these, I think, except for the newest one, which would have been, this one. So all of these I cannot claim except through a Phoenix lockbox. If I hit for the T6, you need a rare or an epic, and for the T5s, which is the Ryson Luxury and the Corvette, require a ultra rare. So unless you get really lucky, I'll never have these. I happen to get it on 1 character on this account. So, and I wound up getting, since it was a science character, I wound up getting the Crenum science ship because it was an awesome ship and the trait was pretty good. And then the weekend event is usually the Sompek, and this is where you can reclaim items from there. The ones with zeros I have claimed before, so they are free to me, so I can reclaim them if I don't have them. Thus, I've already reclaimed all these. Anything with this one I still haven't unlocked, or this one, or this one. So I still got some that I just missed because either I wasn't available that weekend that they ran it, or I missed it for whatever reason. But generally you get it for 4 days. It's usually Thursday through Sunday. So technically, if you can run it back to back on the 20-hour cooldown, you can get 5 per every time they open it up. So it is possible for me. Matter of fact, I've already got 2 in the bank. So the next one that runs, I'll be able to actually get 2 items. I'll probably wind up going with the Blast Assault and the Lightning because they go together and create a nice little extra. But back to events. You can collect your status here, and this doesn't really show you. It will appear more for the others, but this will tell you how far along you are, what it takes to get to the next, and various different things. The store is what I just had open, shows you all the event items claimable in the store, and the info will just tell you what is it, and it will explain a little bit about what everything is. All right, but for the major reputations, these open at level 50. It's when they start becoming available, and you want to start going to these as soon as possible. Each one offers something new and different. Depending on what you want, there are captain traits. There are equipment. You do not have to maximize all of them. I always do. It's just the way I do it, and generally I run them all at the same time. I don't. Well, I have a lot of characters. I don't do it to where they're automatically, or where they can automatically almost get to tier 5 with all the points I have banked. If you notice, this one has just hit the tier 5, so with the exception of Gamma, which I actually bought the Gamma set, so I had to run that mission quite a bit more, and some other things. But generally you'll get quite a few of these left. All right, I'm not going to go through each and every single one because there's just too much information. But I'm going to give just a quick interview. Each one has a different set of things you need to complete to get it. And once you complete it, here's the things you will receive. For example, on the Gamma, you will receive two traits. These are both 1 and 3 give ground traits. 2 and 4 give space traits. If you're a person who doesn't have a lot of the marks and you just want to focus on certain, hey, I only need this trait, I don't need anything else, then you can only go to that tier. You don't have to complete out the tier. It is highly recommended that you do, because you do receive, let me pull it up, under your traits, the active reputation traits here. These are all, once you hit tier 5 is when you will receive these. So again, you don't have to do all of them if you know exactly which one you want. For example, this one's from Nakura. This one is from the Lucari. And this one, oh man, I think that one was Dyson? No. That was 8042, the Undine. And of course this was the Temporal. So there's that. Let's see. Tier 1 for this one would give you one of 2 ground traits that you can choose. Again, you don't have to choose them. It also unlocks the store. It allows you to the store. It will actually, of course, I have everything open. But for the store, it gives you the purple Gamma Defense Inhibiting Polarant Rifle ground weapons. So if I only did it to 1, I would only have the rifles. The high beam, the split, the sniper. That would be it. And honestly, I rarely buy these, mostly because when you're doing it, you will get a box that has a random chance of dropping one of these items. Sometimes they're actually rare instead of, these are all ultra rares, but some are very rare, excuse me. But sometimes in the box they'll only drop rares, which are blues. So it varies on those. But generally, if you want one of these weapons, it's better just to get it from one of the drop boxes versus actually purchasing it, because it only you can only buy them with the lithium. And especially since you can now re-roll items, it makes it a lot easier to get the mod you want versus randomly guessing. I did purchase on one character the Romulan one. Actually, I did. I needed space weapons, and I just could not get the right drops, so I wound up purchasing the space weapons for the plasma. Mostly because the proc on these is the same. It gives you two procs. One is the normal plasma damage, which is normal, and the other proc is actually the same as Disruptor, so -10 all damage. So these are, for a while, these were actually very good. And actually there was a mission, I don't know if it's still available with the revamp, that had a Disruptor plasma beam array. That you could get usually fairly early in the missions, but I don't think it's there anymore. But anyway, I wound up outfitting a character with these. But Tier 1, you get 2 ground traits. You get to unlock various abilities. You'll also usually get a transwarp. So you will at least go to Tier 1 on all of these. Let's see. I thought this one gave transwarp to Defera. No, but this will give you a new transwarp. This one gives you a transwarp to the Delta Quadrant from the Delta Alliance. Okay, those are the. I could have swore that the Omega gave it to Defera. Oh well. Maybe it opened up differently when you hit 50. Anyway, so each one has a different trait, and I'll go over what it takes to get to each one here in a minute. Actually, I've made a nice little spreadsheet, and I will make it available down in the comments that will break down what it takes to actually reach each one and how much it takes. But there are various projects that you can run and get. Generally, Tier 1 will drop a console for each one. 2 usually opens up a I think deflectors, generally. Yep, deflector dish. Personal shield. Okay, yeah. Tier 1 usually opens up the personal shield on the ground equipment. Tier 2 usually does the deflector for this ship. Tier 3 usually will unlock the weapon for ground. And usually the engines, especially with reputations that have all 4 pieces. The Omega, Nucara, and Romulan do not have warp cores or singularity cores, so therefore they do not. Again, Space Console. There is no... Actually, New Romulus is the only one that's different. There is no ground set for New Romulus. But Omega opens up... Omega has the most options. This is a Klingon character, so I'll get the personal shield from Mako, the Honor Guard, and the Omega, and the adapted Omega. Now it says it requires acquisition of the standard Mark 12 ground set for your faction to unlock the adapted. And generally the adapted is just the Mako set of the other faction. So the adapted Mako for KDF is actually the same thing as for the Federation, and vice versa. So generally you get the Mako, notice the Honor Guard is Klingon Defense Force only, and the Omega. Tier 2 gives deflectors. Tier 3 gives the personal weapons. And the impulse engines. Tier 4 usually gives the other weapon in the set. One will get one, like I said, Tier 1 will give you the console. Tier 2 usually will give you the beam weapon of choice for whatever it is, and 4 is usually the torpedo. Although I think Dyson is reverse of that. Yeah, Dyson gives the torpedo and then gives the proton weapon. And then Tier 4, or Tier 5, excuse me, which will be the final unlock, will give you usually the last piece, which is usually the shield for space, and usually the armor for ground. And the new Tier 6, basically the major thing about the Tier 6 is it will upgrade your traits from rank 1 to rank 2. So basically it gives a little better traits. Unlocks. Once you unlock it, there's a special little flourish it will give that for each one you unlock, it's just one click and it will show all of the particular ones you've unlocked. 2% bonus damage for set weapons, so that can make it very awesome if you're going after a DPS build. And then for projects, you get Reputation Vanity Shield, so it's not a real shield, it's just changing the look of your ship. This is one I've already hit Tier 6 on a character here for everything. It took a long time, and I'll be going with that. But it gave a gear discount, and I'll show that here in a moment. And I have the option to claim a fleet module, and you can claim a Captain Skills Retrain token. So if you are totally free to play and you've slotted all of your skills, space, ground, and you're just like, oh shoot, I messed up, I meant to do this instead, you can retrain. Now, occasionally if Cryptic makes a mistake or something, you'll sometimes get a free one here to clear out something. Or if something happens to where you have to do it, generally you'll get a free one to clear that one out. So to me, that plus this one's a lifetime. So I have, notice, 21 tokens on this character. Actually, every single character has a lot. So that one is not as important to me, but the fleet modules are awesome for unlocking the fleet variant of the ships. As long as if you own it on the C-Store, it will only cost 1. If you do not own the C-Store, it will be 4 for a T5 ship or 5 modules for a T6 ship. So it's a lot cheaper if you own the ship, but if you don't, then this is a good way of getting those, because they cost in the store, they are 500. Of course, there's a Black Friday sale going on right now. But generally, they are 500 Zen each. Or you can buy a pack of 4 for 2,000 Zen, which is still there's no discount there, it's still 5,000. So even on sale, and this is a really good sale right now, it's the Black Friday sale, so $375. So it's still, it costs Zen. So even if you convert from dilithium, it'll take a while to actually get those. but they're basically giving them away. And there are 12 total reputations as of right now, so that means it's possible to get 12 of them. That's two T6 ships that you don't own and two that you do own. So that's 4 extra ships that only cost you fleet marks, really. So that one, I will be taking advantage of that one on a couple of characters eventually. Oops, wrong one. But no, so that's pretty much reputations in a quick nutshell. Now I'm going to go over the hard part, getting them up in rank. On the status, this does not show because I have completed it, but each of these take a certain amount of experience, marks, and EC, energy credits, in order to level up. There's a daily one, which has a 20-hour cooldown, and you can do up to 3 of these per 20 hour for the hourly. I do not run the hourlies at all because the cost involved is just too high for the little bit of rewards. If you have thousands and thousands and thousands of reputation marks, it might be beneficial. I know a lot of people, when the T6 first launched, were doing that, and they had tens of thousands of marks because they've been playing so long and they have just a few characters, so they had literally tens of thousands of marks, so they could do the hourly, and it will shave off a little bit of time. So, but to me, it's not worth it on a new character, and I'll show you why here in a moment. But that's the basics on reputation. But there's 2 missions. It's a daily and the hourly, and I'm just going to slot these just to show. It takes 15,000 energy credits, 2,000 experience, and 30 marks for each reputation. For the daily, the 20-hour cooldown. The hourly takes half as much, so 7,500, 1,000, and 15. Now, remember, this is also sponsored. Alright, now the cost does not matter, but the reward does. I will get 5,000 Romulan experience per completion. I will receive 340 lithium, and I will receive a random box that will, while it is rare, you can have rare or you can have the ultra rare equipment drop from it. Or you could have one of they call them the elite fleet marks. This is from the Delta, from the competitive, but it's possible you might receive one of these also. So it's always good for those. If you are unsponsored, in other words, you've never ran this reputation before, everything is the same except for this. It will be half that amount, 2,500 versus 5,000. So it takes twice as long to get from tier 1, or tier 0, tier 0 to tier 5. Once you hit tier 5, with the drop of the discovery content, you automatically create sponsorship for your entire account. So I'll go ahead and cancel these. I'm not going to be leveling her up to tier 6 just yet. So yeah, so it takes 2,500 up to tier 5, and then you automatically get sponsored. So from tier 5 to tier 6, it automatically goes to the 5,000. So that helps, but it takes a lot to get to the tier 6. As a matter of fact, oops, wrong one. Info, status. Tier 1 requires 5,000 XP. Tier 2 requires 15,000. Tier 3 is 32,500. Tier 4 is 60,000. Tier 5 is 100,000, and Tier 6 is 250 reputation. As a matter of fact, I have created a spreadsheet. This is on Google Docs. I will share the link down in the description. This is how I have things. I've done it unsponsored reputation. Sponsored reputation tells you how many exactly it's going to cost you to get up to that particular tier. For example, if you're unsponsored, it's going to be 2,500. To get to tier 1, it's going to take you 10,000 energy credits, 5,000 times 2, 2,000 experience, or 4,000 experience, 2,000 times 2. And notice I have 65 marks. This is actually 30 marks times 2 days plus 5 marks to level up to that particular tier. It requires a special mission. Matter of fact, let me go back to that. Under the upgrade, you have 2 for each tier. You have, or each reputation. You have 2 projects where you can slot the daily. You can slot the weapons or consoles or whatever in these 2. This one is the one, when it is open, will have the tier 6 or tier 1, tier 2, up to tier 6 mission when it is available. It is one of those that you click it, it takes 5 marks of that particular reputation, and takes 5 seconds to complete. So it's pretty quick and pretty painless for that, but it does require 5 extra marks. So I've actually included that in the total amount right here. But this is how much it will cost. It will take you 2 days of unsponsored to hit tier 1. It'll take you 4 days, 2, 7 days, 3. Now these are extra days. So that's not 4 days total, it's 6 days total. So it basically going from tier 1 to tier 2 takes 4 days. Going from tier 2 to tier 3 takes 7 days, etc. Totals for tier 5. If you're only going to go to tier 5, which I at least recommend going at least that far, the total amount per reputation will be 200,000 energy credits, 80,000 experience, and 1,250 marks. The nice thing is, once you hit tier 5, you actually get a bunch of marks back. Most of the newer ones have 750, if I remember right, but that's for Dyson and On. Romulan, Nukara, and Borg ones do not give as much as the newer ones do. You also get a nice chunk of dilithium from each, and on the newer ones you also get 5 of the elite marks, which is the piece you need for building things. So basically it's enough to build 1 space item. But this is, again, this is how many is needed to complete the tier 1 is 5,000 XP in that particular reputation, all the way up to the 250,000. But yeah, this is not the total. For example, this 20,000 is not the total needed. It is 20 plus the 10,000. So it actually takes 30 to get to tier 2. But I decided it would be better just to mark these out from here to here, not the total, except for down here. So actually it takes, I need to change my formula then, because technically it only takes 40 days. Matter of fact, I'll do this. That's why. Okay, yeah, technically it only takes 40 days and 70 days on unsponsored if you're just doing the daily. I think I worked it out one time. If you actually did the 3 extra hourlies, this will take off like 3 or 4 days just to get tier 5, so that means it'll probably take you about a week sooner to hit tier 6. But the cost in everything, basically it's not double this, but it's half of this. So to go to tier 1, no, excuse me, it's 2.5 times, because the daily is half as much. So if you run it 3 times, that's actually 1.5 times this. So it would be 25,000 energy credits. It would be too much. Too much experience, too many marks, in my opinion. So to me, it's not worth it, especially if it's a new character. Generally what I do, I will make sure that every character I have, by the time they get to 50, I try and make it where that they do have 625 total marks available. That way I can go from tier 0 to tier 5 every day. I don't have to worry about having to rerun missions or anything. It's like I've already banked enough at that point to where, and like I said, I usually utilize the winter event and the summer events to get those extra marks. Anytime a new mission drops, especially these SFOs that are now dropping. You can start running them at earlier than you used to. It used to be these you couldn't even get to most of these. I think these were the only ones. Nope. Which one was it? There's only certain amount of these that were actually open to low level characters. Generally, they were the ones that were dilithium only. Oh, I know what it is. Oh, that's right. They've dropped a couple. Yeah, the Romulan Imperial Minefield. You can get, but there is no marks attached to that one. That's just lithium. Matter of fact, all the ones before the fleet, all the fleet-based ones where you can get just fleet marks, that was it. Just fleet marks. Yeah, so basically the one where the reward is just fleet marks are the ones you can do. I think at level 10 is when they open up. So Colony Invasion, Klingon Fleet Alert, or Federation or Klingon Starbase, and the Starbase Incursion or Defense, and then Fleet Starbase Defense. So those were open early, but you got nothing else for them. And these are new. The Draenor. As a matter of fact, that is exactly where I'm at right now. I'm on my Fleet's Colony World, which is why I can wear the swimsuit and the board, just because it looks cool. Plus, I didn't like a lot of the people around me bumping into me, so I said, hey, let's go and check this place out. Plus, it really looks really nice. They did a good job on the skies and the sea. So it's really good. But yeah, back to my spreadsheet. But that's for the unsponsored. For the sponsored reputation, basically this is where you're going to get the 5,000 per day. So basically to go from tier 0 to tier 1 will just take you a single day and just 35 marks. 30 marks for the mission and then 5 marks for the upgrade. So notice the days are actually halved. So it takes 20 days total and 50 days. I'm going to have to figure out why those are. Okay, obviously I've got a formula wrong somewhere. Oh well, I will fix that and it will automatically update. But yeah, it only takes 20 days. Once one character has hit tier 5, every other character automatically gets sponsored. So now instead of the 40 days, it only takes 20 days. And it takes half as much of equipment. So now instead of the 1,225 marks, it only requires 625. And like I said, on most of these, you'll get at least that much back. I think Omega only gives you 500 marks, but I think all the others give at least 600. I think most of them are 750. So basically, you'll get all your marks back at the end once you hit tier 5. There is no extra stuff once you hit tier 6. It's just the unlocks. And this is how many it would take, only 1,530 total to hit tier 6, and takes 51 days. Basically, it's 30 days between tier 5 to tier 6. So a whole month to go from one to the other. So it's very long slog. I mean, going from tier 0 to tier 6 unsponsored, 70 days, that's nearly 2 months, just over 2 months actually. So that can be a grind in itself, even if you had all the marks banked. And of course, once you get sponsored, it's so much better. But I'm glad that they sort of changed it to where it's automatically sponsored now, versus it used to be you had to create a token that cost 100 marks for each character that you wanted to sponsor. So most of the time, the free marks that they wound up giving me, I wound up having to turn around and turn those into sponsorship tokens for my alt characters so that they could start leveling up in it. And I actually got to the point where I was just using one character to do all the others, and said, that's not making much sense. Let's do one. One will sponsor two, and so on, because I have enough characters for that. Actually, too many characters sometimes. Let's see. My individual, like this account, I have 12. Yep, 12 characters. Yes, I keep track of everything on my characters with spreadsheets. Almost have to. But for this account, I do have 3 accounts. One for for each of my different males. My Yahoo is my oldest. Actually, I started back in 2013. So that is my very first character right there. Notice I haven't played her in a while, and she's still sitting at level 60. But I use this spreadsheet because I have so many characters. It's just easier to keep track of everything, the day I create them, what level they are, what day I hit level 50. I might be deleting this one to level 60 because it no longer applies really. And then 65 is the new. Oh, I know why I kept it. Is because the dates. Some of these dates would reflect poorly. It's like, wow, why did it take you 3 years to go up 5 levels? Well, that's because this one didn't come into effect until then. Matter of fact, when I started playing the game, level 50 was the highest. And then 2014 for the Delta expansion, they increased it to 60. And then with the Gamma, they raised it up 5 more to 65. But I keep track of how much unrefined dilithium and refined dilithium I have on each character, because sometimes I need to trade it between characters. Sometimes I just want to know, hey, matter of fact, these are like 300 now. Yes, I have a calculator, so I know exactly, hey, if I were to trade in all my refined dilithium right now, how much could I get? Well, at the current market, which is about 300. Because of the Black Friday. Oops, not the replicator I need. Yep, right about 300. So this way I can find out, okay, take all my dilithium, if I add it together and I sold it for 300, I would get 512 Zen. So as this is a lifetime account, basically I would get just a little bit more than what they give me per month. So needless to say, right now I'm what I call the lithium poor. This account, this is my free-to-play account. I do have a little bit of purchase time on it. It's only like 400 days total, but this is totally free to play. I spent very little money on it at all. I've bought a couple of ships at various times, but that's about it. Everything else on this has been totally free. If you notice on this one, I have a lot more refined dilithium available. Matter of fact, I got nearly 3,000 Zen available. As a matter of fact, I might be able to take advantage of that because I know this character is actually, I've not kept track of it in a couple of days, so actually these is a little bit more than available. So I might have enough to buy a ship from it. And I'm really tempted to buy one of the $30 packs that has one KDF and one Federation ship in it. That's neither here nor there. But I just wanted to go over reputations, and hopefully this was helpful. Like I said, I will have a link to the spreadsheet in my notes so that if you have any questions, you can look back on it and go, hey, it's going to cost me this much to get here, so what do I need to do? And like I said, I find the easiest thing to do is run the new Defensive Starbase 1 as soon as you can. It gives about 100 to 150 marks, depending on how, what options you complete, and there's various things that determine your totals. But still, if you have a sponsored reputation, you only have to run this mission for maybe 6 days. Will give you more than enough marks to complete one reputation. So that's one way of earning, and of course you can go through each one. You can do the randoms now, which basically drop you into a random of any of these, but it will also give you one box of marks of choice. So basically, whichever mission you run, and most of the ones I find are wind up being some of the Omegas. That seems to be the big one. I get a lot of the Infected the Conduit, or ISA as it's called, or the Hive, not so much the Hive Onslaught, but the Cure Found, and occasionally Board Disconnected. I get those missions more often than not, and actually I also get a lot of the Starbase ones as randoms. I've gotten a lot of others though, not as much. So sometimes if I want particular marks, I do have to manually queue myself for that particular one, and it will fill up, except for the competitive. Competitive will not work that way, which is both a good and bad thing. It's like right now the current meta requires competitive, the competitive engine is usually a go-to, and it's a very nice engine. So you need the elite marks from that one, the assess stratagem, and so you've only got 2 choices. That's another thing I forgot to go over. And Dyson, under the upgrades, once you have enough of you've completed everything, you can actually trade in the marks for dilithium. You can do it one time for 500 dilithium for 50 marks. For 250 marks, you can do 2,500 dilithium, or for 500 marks, you can get 5,000. That's the top one, but you can run these missions back to back to back to back. So if you have enough, you can actually turn over a lot of dilithium. The problem is it will be unrefined dilithium, so you have to wait, or just ore basically. So you're going to have to wait until it can refine, which is only 8,000 per day, and then you can go to the Fleet Dilithium mine and refine another 500. And if you are I think it's an 800-day veteran or lifetime, you can go to your academy, and there's a duty officer there that has a mission with a 48-hour cooldown that will give you another 1,000. So it works out to, if you're a veteran with the time into the game, not just free to play, then you can refine basically 9,000 per day average. But elite compensation. So let's say I was short. I'm not. I currently have 7 of these, but let's say I'm short on, hey, I need this, and I don't feel like running a mission that will give it to me. You can do this every 20 hours. You can queue this up for just 100 marks. We'll give you one of the elites. So this is actually a good way of getting those. It's just slow because you can only queue this once every 20 hours. So basically you can only get one of these per day. So if you're short 1 or 2, this is good. If you're short more than that, it's better just to go ahead and run the mission. Now notice, by canceling that, I no longer have... Oh, no, I do. It used to be that No, this is reversed. So yes, now that I cancel that mission, again, it's a once 20 hours. That mission will not come back for 20 more hours. Like I said, I don't need it, so it's not a big deal. And the other, the last one, like I said, you can go marks to dilithium, and if you have enough of these, you can go from here, from 3, I'll go ahead and queue that one, because this one is repeatable as often as you want. For 3 of these, you can get 1,000 dilithium ore. So if you, for example, I've got a lot here, I'll just go ahead and do that one, just because I can. Queue that one. Nope, that's to give me one. So I'll cancel it. I want to do the other one. There we go. I want to give the 3. Takes 5 seconds. And there we go. Now I have 1,000 ore that needs to be refined. And I can do that right there. But that's about it for reputations. I hope this has answered some questions. If anyone has any additional questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as I can on it, usually within a day or two, hopefully. Right now, for a lot of these, I'm actually in the process of renaming some of my videos, but if you notice, they'll be like 101, 102, 202. Basically, the 101s are going to be the basic facts, and as things change, or as maybe information that I missed, I may change the end number to like a 102 would be, hey, I forgot to add this. But like a 201 would be, okay, Cryptic has revamped this, and now things have totally changed, and this is the new way. So I figured that would make it easier, sort of like college courses. But if anyone has any questions, again, feel free to leave them down in the comments. And this is Esper signing off.